Warahmatullah, everyone. Welcome to another live webinar with Sheikh Walid Basyouni. Today's topic, inshallah, that we're covering is going to be in-laws or outlaws, how to create healthy relationships within your chosen families. My name is Mr. Hafsa. I'm host once again for today, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have on this topic. But before we get started and before the Sheikh joins us, I would love for you all to say your salams in the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from, as usual, if you attended previous webinars or sessions with Sheikh Walid, and what you enjoyed most so far. Inshallah, we'll be kicking off in just a few short minutes, but we want to get a chance for you guys to join us. Please do also share this webinar and this link. Put it on your WhatsApp groups, put it on your Facebook Messenger chats, put it wherever, I don't know, TikTok doesn't have group, wherever you can, so that everyone else with the community can also benefit, and especially your family members and people that you might know who have difficult relationships or who struggle with this aspect of their lives. So Jazakallah khair. I see a few more people are trickling in, and Sheikh is going to be joining us very shortly as well. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. Let's see who's going to be the first to say their salams, to introduce themselves, and inshallah let us know where they're coming in from. Of course, this topic is actually based on a conversation or a request that we had that were overwhelming from the course that Sheikh Walid has created for Muslim women, for the modern fiqh of Muslim women in the 21st century, called Complicated Online. So we've been talking about this course. We've introduced you to it. We've mentioned a few things. Of course, this course is a very, very complete, comprehensive approach to women's fiqh, nothing like you've ever seen before. And you can find out more about it on almaghrib.online. But we'd actually completed this course a while ago. It's been one of Sheikh's biggest life works. He put so much time into making sure this course was comprehensive and comprehensive, and it answered every single question on women's fiqh possible. But we got a lot of requests under the topics of marriage and divorce. So we ended up adding a lot of videos to that module. We expanded it well beyond what we were expecting and planning to do so initially, to make sure that we did justice to that topic. And one of the things that comes up and that's discussed quite a bit, and that does affect Muslim women and our health, the health of our relationships, of our marriages, of our dynamics with our children and our families, is relationship with in-laws. And it can be a contentious topic at times. And if you ask anybody, and I asked a few friends and students before this session to give some kind of guidelines or some suggestions for issues that arise within families and with in-laws, and there was a lot to be said. But Sheikh is probably going to surprise you, inshallah, in this session, maybe debunk some of the thoughts or some of the perceptions that you might have had in terms of the difficulty with relationships with in-laws, and inshallah discuss some practical examples of how conflict can occur and exactly how to resolve it, and inshallah hear from you guys as well. This session is going to be an intense one. We're not going to be available for the full hour, so I'm looking forward to your contributions and your sharing as well of experiences in the chat. And once again, if you want to, of course, this is just like a preview of all the content and all the conversations around this topic. So if you want to find out more, please head over to almaghrib.online. The complicated course with Sheikh Walid is closing very, very soon, and you do not want to miss this opportunity. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity to have access to so much clarity and so much empowering knowledge as a woman about your faith and your role in the society. So I know Sheikh has been waiting patiently, so I do want to bring him back on screen, inshallah, for another webinar session. I'm very excited for us to get kicked off. So Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sheikh Walid, how are you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Alrighty, Sheikh.
I'm doing great, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, that's lovely to hear. Now, I do want to remind you, Sheikh, you chose this topic, so buckle up. This is going to be, honestly, this is something I think that the community really struggles with, and there's a lot of jokes that are made about in-laws and relationships. Even our shuyukh like to make a lot of jokes, but I think it's important to reevaluate and to kind of put into perspective the relationships and the value of the relationships of your in-laws. And I love that we added that. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was looking for to prepare for the course, so I'm trying to explore what other culture talking about. So make a Google search, and most of what you find a lot of jokes actually about it. And then somebody's saying, "Oh, my mother-in-law, she's an angel." Somebody said, "I wish mine to be one too."
Yeah.
Or I wish mine is, I wish mine is one as well. So,
yeah,
which is, you have to be from a different culture than like Arab or Desi culture to understand this joke, because when you die and your soul goes to heavens, you become like an angel, So as if you're wishing, I was like, wow, I'm looking this and that and all like weird stuff. Then this link says, what you do if you miss your mother-in-law. I said, maybe that would be nice. Click on it. It says reload and try again. Just oh, that's so terrible. So when you hear that, raise the question, why? Why there is so much like negativity surrounding this issue?
Yeah.
Um, and I do believe, as an imam, as somebody dealing with families, counseling family for a long time, that there's very, very much truth to all the stories that we hear about. There is a truth to it. There is it's not all exaggerations. It's not all made up. It's not all just cruel jokes.
Mhm.
There is a reality behind it. There is no smoke without fire,
Yeah.
as we say. But
Yeah.
I do also believe that there is a exaggeration. A lot of things been added to, and the reason for this, because of some people trying to make themselves funny. Movies contributed to that as well. Meeting the parents and stuff like that. Jokes, culture. You know, uh, uh, and even to the extent that this influence of culture, which has truth in it, but also a little bit exaggerated. In some books of fiqh, they say, who should you look for? The best ideal wife. In some of the books of fiqh, they said, this and this and that, قال ولا أم لها, and she has no mother. That's how they mention in some books of fiqh.
I know people who say like, marry a guy who doesn't have parents or like whose parents
Yeah,
are or
so
yeah.
if it reached that level, that means it has, and it's not something new.
Yeah.
It is something that through time. So definitely it's an issue.
Mhm.
Definitely there is a challenge there. Definitely there is something to be discussed and to be explored. Not every mother-in-law and father-in-law are bad. I'm a father-in-law myself. My wife is. So that doesn't mean like we can generalize. I don't know if I'm good or not. Or maybe you should ask Ammar. But uh, I know from myself that this is not how it is.
Mhm.
So I know my in-laws are perfect. I never had a problem with them. All my life, been married for years and years and years. Alhamdulillah. So, what is it? What is the problem? I started searching in the early generations, like in the time of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Was the issue of in-laws an issue?
Uh-huh.
The time of the Tabi'een. Was this an issue? Did anybody talked about? Did the Prophet ﷺ ever mention anything like that, or the companions had any incident like that? Because one of the guidance we look for is the guidance of these early generations, and I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any trace in history in that era talk about in-laws. I wouldn't claim that my research is 100%, but I did look and I looked thoroughly to a certain extent and certain references, and I couldn't find. Um, and even if there is one or two, not something common as you see today.
Uh-huh.
It,
So it's a modern.
taking consideration old days,
Mhm.
people lived together more, close to each other more. You know, so I think there is an area. I don't want to rush my points,
Yeah.
but I think I'm glad that we talk about this because as an imam, I can tell you need at least 30 to 40% of marriages that come fall apart. It's because of in-laws,
Hmm. Yep. And
and
I
that's
think
that's a that's a big percentage.
I think someone in the chat was also mentioning this as well. And I hope that you guys can also like give some advice. I see some people have already chipped in there. Give some advice in terms of how you've managed your own, in-laws relationships, and inshallah, hopefully others can benefit from that as well. But Sheikh, I think one thing that is very connected to what we've been discussing about the complicated online course and the reason why we're bringing this topic in as well is I think, maybe I'm making a sweeping generalization. You guys can pitch in the chat. Sheikh, you can also clarify, but a lot of times I think the understanding, there's a generational gap between parents and daughters and the expectations that they have of daughters, what they think of being a good Muslim woman is, the role in society that they should have, the education that they should have, the way that they should get married, who they should get married to. In-laws also have those expectations, and their perception of what a woman's role in society is if it's different from where the girl's family growing up, and they have a very different traditional approach to what she should be doing, how she should be behaving, what roles she should be taking, jobs, no jobs, children, how she should be raising them. That's where the clash comes in.
I do believe that can be one, or it is one of the reasons, but I don't think there is one reason. I think there is multiple reasons.
Yeah.
There is multiple reasons can be explored and identified behind this problem. But I'll tell you, number one reason, in my opinion, number one reason is jealousy.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Absolutely. I found out that jealousy is number one reason for many of these problems to be created. So many mothers, they feel so threatened by the wife.
Mm-hmm.
So many mothers, they feel so threatened by this new arrival to the fact. He took my daughter away. He took my son away. And it's mainly about the son. He took my son away. He loves her more than me. Even if she doesn't verbalize that, she feels that inside. Like sometimes when I talk to some parents, I'm like, wow, his love to his wife does not contradict his love to you. Not because he loves his wife so much, it doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Because the love that I have for my wife is so different than the love that I have for my mother. It's like I said to one of them once, I said, sister, do you feel threatened that your son loves coffee so much? Or he loves his kids so much?
Yeah.
Or loves traveling so much? No.
Yeah.
So that means that there is a different type of love. And I think that's a key point. If this can come across, and make sure that this is clear to your parents, and make sure the parents understand that don't feel threatened. He still have absolute love for you. But that new love is a different type of love. The way I see my wife is not the same way I see my mother.
Yeah.
I see my kids. It's not the same way. It's different type of love, or my spouse. So I think that's an important point. Another reason is the issue that you said is the generation gap.
Yeah.
You know, there is a huge gap sometimes between the parents and the new arrival. Is it he or she?
Yeah.
And I found it more the sisters suffer than brothers in most of the cases. And they cannot relate. They have the same, like for example, I'm having certain expectation about the role of wife at home.
Mm-hmm.
But this new generation have a completely different expectation. And by the way, sometimes the son does not have the same expectation as the parents. They think, I'm not married to you, I'm married to your son. You know, it's like one sister was telling me one time, you know, Sheikh Walid, she doesn't cook for him. I never miss a day to cook for my husband. I said, yes, but she is not married to your husband. She's married to your son, and your son is different. Is your son like your husband?
Yeah.
He dressed like same. He likes to eat at home, or he like pizza and like burgers and like, you know, and like to go out, and it's just different things, interest. So sometimes we don't understand that, you know, not because she doesn't do the same thing that you do, it means she's bad. Today, if the generation gap can exist after 5 years, what do you think if it's 30 years of the age?
Yeah.
25 years of age difference or more. Also, many parents sometimes, and a lot of Muslims, parents can be from a different culture, not only age-wise, but also culture. Like even for example, I'm an Arab, or like I born in Egypt and raised in Saudi Arabia. You know, my parents, I'm not an Egyptian. I'm not a person who's Saudi. I have a different culture than those who live there, even though I can trace my upbringing or my lineage to these countries.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean just because you're Pakistani, your daughter is a Pakistani culture. She's influenced by Pakistani culture, but she's not the same as you, mom or dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, and understanding this dynamic important, because I come with that culture of mine. You know what? The mom thinking that, you know, this is disrespect. Yeah, disrespect maybe in your culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if she spit on his face, or she raised her voice, or she said bad words, or she hit him, yes, that's disrespect by any standard. but sometimes she talks while she's relaxing, stretching her legs. Hey, it's not a. Oh my God, you have no respect. That's not necessarily the case. He himself, your son, doesn't feel disrespected.
So Sheikh, like if
And that's important. Like this culture, when the Sahaba came from Mecca to Medina, and they was surprised. How come the women of Medina talk back to their husband?
yeah.
In Mecca, this is just, they cannot comprehend that, But in Medina, it was normal. That's why Umar got like, are you serious? You will spend the whole day mad at the Prophet, not talking to him? She said, yeah, sometimes. I will just be angry at him and not talk to him. He couldn't understand that because that's not how they raised. So what I'm saying to say that sometimes the culture can play. That's one of the reasons for this problem to happen. I have other reasons too. I have 3, 4, 5 other points and are important. But if I cut you off early, there's anything you want to say?
No, I was just Subhana. So
Or
how
even in chat, I don't see the chat. So if
there's
any comments on this point, I would like to take it before I go to
a lot of agreement
to more point.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that and there's actually quite a few questions, and I'll be honest, unfortunately, we won't get a chance to get to a lot of questions today, although we'll try to incorporate as many of those into the conversation as possible. But we are covering hundreds, thousands of questions at this point through the complicated course. So please do refer to that, inshallah. That's available at amalghrib.online.
So one of the points that I mentioned in my modules in the course about this, and I think it's an important point. A lot of parents, they don't understand the new stage of their children. And that's a big problem, appear even more when it comes to marriage. What I mean by that? Like sometimes the father and the mother don't understand, my son now is not anymore the college kid who's staying at home with me. He's a father, he's a married man, he have other responsibilities at life. He's not going to be able to take you anytime you want, answer his phone all the time. You see him every day. No, it's a new stage of his life. And we have to understand that. My daughter is not the girl who's staying upstairs anytime I can reach out to her room. No, she's now a wife. She's now her own life. She has his own kingdom. She has her own, set of responsibilities and priority. It's different state. It's exactly like when you don't understand that your son is a college student or your girl is a college girl, not anymore high schooler, not anymore middle school, not elementary. Every stage in your children's life requires from you to prepare yourself to deal with it. A lot of parents not ready. They don't understand that, what? It is okay if I don't see my son every day now because he is busy. I understand my son cannot call me every day or my daughter because of it's not because don't talk to him or whatever. No, it is because the situation is different. Just give me 1 second. I need to get some water. Just 1 second, please.
No worries at all. And while the Sheikh is doing that, we'll just look at some of the questions and comments. MashaAllah, you guys have been amazing. I see Ridwana, a question or comment from you is, culture is tough, especially when mother-in-laws force their culture on the daughter-in-laws who isn't from the same culture, but the expectation is there they have to conform. That's very true. And this is why this conversation is going to have to be longer than the 30 minutes that we have with us right now. But I think there's a meeting ground or a middle point that needs to be built. And we're going to talk in just a little bit about building those boundaries and how to maintain them with respect. Because a lot of times these issues of coming from different kind of generations, coming from different backgrounds and not being able to merge in the middle and the mother-in-law is never going to be happy with the way that the daughter-in-law has been raised or the values that she has and whatnot. We have to find the middle ground in Islam, and we have to find what kind of helps us in terms of how to navigate those relationships as well. Samah has a really good point. Do not let your emotions control your actions. Sabr is essential. If you have other advice as well for other married people, preferably you're married and you have that experience. If you're unmarried and you think you have some suggestions, feel free to drop them into the chat as well, and we love to hear them. Fasiha mentions it's always good to prioritize the relationship between spouses first and then the other relationships because it's always volatile in the early stages. That's a really, really good point. If there's too many people in your marriage and there's too many people, giving in their opinions and trying to tell you what to do or what's best for you in your marriage and your relationship, that's a recipe for failure, or that's a recipe for at least some really tough times. It's hard enough as well as a couple to navigate these things, then having to do so with with
Assalamu alaikum.
in-laws involved, then it's much more difficult. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Sheikh. So
Yeah.
lots of great
I,
points
I,
being
I,
discussed.
yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to say also, one of the reasons for these problems to happen, and I have to be honest also, some children, they don't fulfill their parents' rights. Yani after they get married, do you see my picture?
Yes, we see you clearly, alhamdulillah, Sheikh.
Okay. One of the things that I noticed, like after people get married, they kind of they're really not fulfilling the rights of their parents. So when you don't show up, when weeks goes by and you don't talk to your dad or the mom, when you don't care for them, when you don't show that wajib on you, which is to fulfill their rights, because they're still your parents, when you start missing on this, what happened? The parents will start blaming your spouse. They're not going to blame you.
Yeah.
They're not going to say, oh, how dare my daughter doesn't talk to me anymore. No, they're going to say either.
They know their child. They know their child. Your child does not change pre-marriage and post. They know that their child is not.
No,
anyways.
But sometimes
like what?
No, we change. That's not true.
Yeah. Okay.
We change. I became so busy. I have so much. I have a work, because usually Muslim marry in a very early age, or like as young couple. It comes with the new job, new things in my life. So I became distracted. Maybe I travel. I have to leave the city. I'm completely occupied. I'm just getting new married. So what happened? I started neglecting my parents' rights. And I'm not fulfilling them. So my parents not going to say, my son is not fulfilling his rights. No, immediately what's going to happen, they're going to think that, his or her spouse now telling them, don't contact your parents. They will blame the foreigner, not the kids, not their own kids. Even though the problem is not the wife. The wife never told him anything. But they think that the wife trying to take him away from the parents. Not the husband. He is the one who telling his daughter, his wife, don't talk to your parents. It just, she became busy. That's the reality. And that's one of the reasons for problem to happen. Another problem that I found very toxic to the relationship, when you marry your spouse without your parents' permission.
That's a big one.
Even later, after years, it's still gonna be in their heads and their mind. He married her without my permission. He didn't come and knock on the door. He betrayed me. Also, another reason for this to happen, and this is a problem, and this is an advice for anyone who's not married yet, to watch carefully for this. And if you're married, I'll tell you how to deal with it too. A lot of these issues happen when you already have prejudgment. I already have developed certain idea about you. So I will see you through that filter, all your actions, or khalas, I got in my head that this girl, she doesn't like me. This woman, she doesn't like me. Her parents don't like me. She's very picky. She's a spoiled brat. He is very rude. Whatever perception I have.
Yeah.
And no matter what happened in the future, I always see you from the first, experience that I had with you. And that's not fair, but I understand first impression lasts very long in people's mind. So you have to be very careful what kind of first impression. Don't lie, don't come late, don't break promises, because that's how they're gonna see you. Okay? Don't be rude, but if you happen to do that, you have to counter and to understand why they are doing this. On the other hand, I will say to parents, you need to give people second chance, But I think one of the reasons that in-laws toxic relations is because a lot of these parents already have certain idea about the husband, or about his race, or about his, where he coming from. Oh, you are from this region or this country or this race. So that means you must be that, you must be this. And that's prejudice, that's racist, that's sometimes like it can be very offensive and absolutely dhulm,
That's a strong
unfair.
point. Yeah.
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 Anyway, so there's other points I mentioned, but I think these are the most important for me. Why this is happening, or why it is common problem.
Sheikh, do you think this is some people decide to actually, and at least I've heard this in conversation enough times that if they feel like there's friction with the parents-in-law, even if they find a good match, they won't go ahead with it because it's not like they fear future problems. Would you recommend that? Is that if a brother and a sister want to get married, that one of their in-laws, one of the families is unhappy, or they have different expectations of the other spouse, that they should consider that as a part of a reason to get married to this person, because you marry the family, right? And you tell
I
I know
absolutely.
yeah,
I 100% will agree in most of the cases, yes.
yeah,
Because we as Muslim, our family is just not me, my wife, and my kids.
yeah.
This is not us as Muslims.
Mhm.
If my family, it means my wife, my husband, my children, but my parents, your parents, my brothers and my sisters, your brother, my sister, your sister. So we are family. We are a family-oriented uh, 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 community, if you say, or people as Muslims. You know, I'm not saying that they dictate my life and choices, but they are part of my life. You know, if your father can't stand me, I'm going to deal with him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is for other communities, who cares? Just cut him off. You know,
Yeah.
I only see my father once every 5 years. We're not like that,
Mhm.
you know, and that's not how it is. It's not how it's supposed to be. You know, I'm not like Khalas. There's some girls just waiting to get out. She will never see her parents again. That's not our culture as Muslims, and it shouldn't be. You know, so when you marry someone, you're expecting that the relationship will. That why I said most of the cases, because there are some cases the problem actually in the parents,
Mhm.
and you can't solve it. And some of the time, the best solution for this is to keep your distance, even from sometimes your own parents.
I know people who can't even get married because their parents are so difficult on potential spouses that nobody wants to take that risk. They push away potential spouses. Oh, sorry, Chef, we just lost your audio real quick. Um, I, I'll just give you a chance to reconnect it, inshallah. Um, just as we wrap up. And by the way, guys, we'll be wrapping up in just about 10 minutes, inshallah. So the Sheikh is just leaving and rejoining our talk in just a second. Jazakallah khair for the comments that you guys have been bringing in. And Sheikh, I see you back with us, and we can hear
Okay.
you. Alhamdulillah. Awesome
Okay.
sauce.
So what I'm saying is sometimes you can't. There is certain circumstances where things can be very toxic. Like like I understand that the girl will not have or the boy will not have a relationship with their family, especially when there is abuse and stuff like that involved.
Mhm.
A great deal of abuse. You just forgive them between you and Allah and you move on. But it doesn't mean that I can't be ever part of that family again. Sometimes, but that's very small percentage,
So,
not a
Sheikh,
big
I think that
percentage.
the one of the big takeaways, or one of the things that people want to know, is how do you then repair? Say a lot of people have experiences with having poor relationships with their in-laws. What's the first step you take? I know it differs per scenarios, but what would be some of your best advice in terms of improving the relationship with your in-laws, and also building boundaries so that the things that matter to you are respected, the things that are beyond the deen that are being expected of you, cultural and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of lay down what you can balance and have clear expectations and clear lines of communication.
I think one of the first points that it's important to understand the rights. There is an Islamically there is rights. So your parents are your parents and your grandparents or uncle. That's your family as a husband, and
Mm-hmm.
they have rights upon you. Okay. Also, her parents, and they have rights upon her, my spouse, my wife. But my parents are not her parents, and her parents are not my parents. They're not even my family.
Thank
Like
you.
in a sense, they are not. They are rahim, just in-laws. They deserve the respect, the love, because of my husband, because of my wife. But there is no you because some people imagine if you marry my son, you have to be. She became like your mom, and she take exactly the same level of your mom. She's not Islamically not. And in Islam and Sharia, there is nothing like that. Mother has a very high status. Father has a very high status. That will not be given to anyone else. It's not to my mother-in-law, father-in-law. It doesn't mean I became respectful. It doesn't mean I don't love them. We have to have, because some people said like, oh, that means khalas, I don't care for them. No, you should care, because they are related to you through your husband or through your wife. But they are not my parents. I think that's an essential issue, because a lot of people come from the perspective of, oh, I'm her mom. No, she's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you should talk to her every day, but not my wife. She's
Sheikh, then
not
then
supposed to.
what rights do mother-in-laws have over daughter-in-laws, and like what rights do
Like, like any Muslim woman, the only extra things that she is related to someone that I'm married to, and he is very special, dear to me. That's it. Okay, so that's the issue.
yeah.
So it might be sound shocking to some people. That's not a call to be disrespectful. But when you put, like, for example, you cannot think of your cousin in the same level as your brother.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't respect my cousin, have no rights on me as a relative, you know. But guess what? Your cousin have higher, more rights upon you than your in-laws. And if you want an example, okay, unless your own laws related to you, like your uncle or something like that, through blood relation, that's a different story. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about, let's assume people not related to each other's, absolutely nothing, no relationship, okay, no blood relation between them. So here in this case, no, you cannot compare your cousin to your brother or to your uncles. Your uncle have higher right upon you than your niece, for example. Okay, it doesn't mean I don't respect my niece, but understanding these levels make you know what is your expectation should be. Because if my expectation is to treat it like, oh, she's this Islamic like my mother, no, she's not, or
Now,
my
so what if
father,
you
no,
understand these levels, Sheikh, but the family doesn't understand it?
huh?
What if in a lot of cultures that's not understood? The expectation, the
But
understanding is that you do more for your mother-in-law
and
than you
and
do.
and that's where exactly you do
Yeah.
for your mother-in-law more than your mom,
Yeah.
which is so ridiculous. This is not Islamic.
So what's
You
this?
know, I'm not sinful if I don't talk to my mother-in-law,
Yeah.
but I'm sinful if I don't talk to my own mother. You know, I don't mean don't talk like you boycott her, no. But if I don't call her every day, every week, and stuff like that, it's not sin. But it could be a sin if I don't do that with my mother.
Yeah.
I'm obligated to support my mother, but financially, for example. But that's not the case with my in-law.
Yeah.
Again, it is important. The way I love my in-laws because I love my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I love them because they are the one who brought this beautiful person to my life, accept me to be part of their family. But that's a figurative speech, part of the family, blah, blah, blah. But the Sharia even give them that right of being mahram. And I know that can be shocking, but that's important because sometimes if you don't realize what is the exact right, it can be a message because your expectation becomes completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the solution is education. At least maybe I couldn't tell my mom that she will, forbid you from taking any Maghrib class in the future. But at least my spouse understand that. My wife understand that. My husband understand that. I'll tell you what's the result of this kind of false narrative that my mother has more right now over you than your own mother. A lot of time I found that the mother of the wife neglected and the parents of the wife neglected. Even he will not allow her to visit them. He will not support her to talk to them all the time. He expecting her to be completely taken away from that family and become part of that family.
Mm-hmm.
Habibi, that's not us. We're not Muslims. That's
Mm-hmm.
Muslim. It doesn't work that. That's why we don't give her in Islam your last name because she's not from your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an Islamic. She's an independent person. So taking this to the level that you expect your wife to serve your parents and to cook for them and to clean the house for them, That's just not right experience. If you want that, go get a maid. Not good. Don't go get a wife.
So, Sheikh, in that
That
situation,
just that's this is. But I'm not saying, oh, that's the case. I'm gonna stay in my home. I'm not gonna do anything for them. No, it's still a good manners. If I'm a guest with you, if I'm coming to you, we do this because it's not always obligations on haram versus sin. No, it is a matter of good manners. I love I love them. They are part of like my in-laws. They're my husband's family. But the same thing, your wife's family too. You should. There is no difference between your mother and her mother. Whatever you expect from her to do to your mother, she should expect the same from you to do to her mother. And tell me if that's reality.
Sheikh, we're gonna
Is
try. I know we
it?
only have a couple. I don't think so. Not at all. Farthest from thing from reality. We have a few questions that I know come up a lot in the course, and there's going to be a lot of specific scenarios that people are experiencing in their own lives that they're going to want clarity from. That, inshallah, can be asked as soon as you join Complicated Online at almaghrib.online. We'll have several lengthy live Q&A sessions with the sheikhs for you guys to get clarity on your questions. But a couple things that keep coming up, so I have to is one is that does the wife have the right not to want to live with the in-laws? Is she allowed to accept before marriage? After marriage, is she allowed to just put her foot down and say, "I can't live with the in-laws"?
Uh, this is one of my tips also. Don't live with your parents.
Okay.
If you don't want problems, don't live with your parents.
Yeah.
Unless you have to. My mom is old and sick. Nobody can help her. But you know what? If this is the case, I have to communicate that to my wife. I can be held there to help. I provide the maid, I provide whatever according to your ability, your financial abilities, and to make sure that you understand that you work this with your wife or your husband. Same thing, because I don't see any difference between the mother of the husband or the wife or the father. Exactly, in Islam, they have the same. There is no favor, and must be clear in people's mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if the wife want to bring her mother to live with her, same thing. So anyway, going back to the point. So in this case, we say that absolutely you have the right to have your own house, and he must provide for you your own house, Islamically, and
So,
he cannot Islamically force in you his parents. But you have to be smart also. But if like my dad, he was so sick, he became ill. He can't take care of himself in the end of his life, rahimahullah. You know, and my older brother said, "I'll take him." I offered to take him in my house. If my wife said, "You know what? I'm not gonna let your father come to my house." Let's assume, God forbid, if she, and I think she will ever never say that. But if she said that, I said, "It's up to you. You can leave if you want." Absolutely. I mean, if my father have to take care of him because he is, I'm not gonna sacrifice my father for you. And the same thing, if my wife tell me that I have my father, nobody taking care, I have to bring him to the house, I have to take care of my father, and I became a jerk and I said no, I expect her to tell me the same. Okay, that's up to you. You go find somewhere else.
yeah.
My father, I would not just put him in the street.
But
Nobody
that's
will
an
accept that. But
yeah,
that's how much,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah,
the reality now, no, they can be independent. And even if that you can prove there's other people can help from the family.
yeah.
You know, I can bring them to be live next to me, next door, in an apartment and in a house. You know what? Don't be stingy. Not because you want to save money. I took
Mm-hmm.
toll on my marriage. No, that's the best way to spend money to save
Mm-hmm.
your to be good to your parents and to save your family.
Is to live
What's
separately.
wrong? No, there is wrong because everybody wants their own house. It can be only one queen in the house. It can be only one this is her house.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Quran always in the Quran said بيوتهن بيوتهن لا تخرجون بيوتهن, their house, their houses, their houses, their house. Always the Quran refers to this is their house, her house, her house, her house. That means it's something belongs to her. You can't bring that. Me as a man, I don't understand that until later on in my life. I got to understand this I'm I guess I get it now, but like I guess I got it.
It took a
I
while.
laugh at myself. It took a while. I always surprised why my mom is so picky about her pots and pans and like like her balls and her stuff that she cook and so protective of it. Even to that extent, that's my stuff. Nobody mess with it. You know,
Nobody can borrow it.
it's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's part of that. That's my house.
Yeah.
And I going in and out. Yeah, akhi, I cannot understand how someone newly married and they live with their parents.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that. Okay, you guys want to go run in your underwears. You're gonna be wearing like revealing clothes. You guys want to it just what kind of life you will have.
Mm-hmm.
She want to put makeup. She want to be like not newly married in any stage of your marriage. How you can do that with your parents?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is so. It is. I can understand how this can work. You know, I understand if this is the only option I have,
Yeah.
but the reality is that's not the only option. And I will advise you if you did not married and the only option for you to do that, don't get married. Wait
Yeah.
until you'll be able to get a house of your own,
Exactly.
home of your own. That's my advice to you.
Yeah. So a woman has a right to
Because yeah, because that's a very damaging to the relationship at the beginning. Anyway,
yeah.
one of the like one thing also it's important for me is you have to learn how to let things go. There is a say تسعة أعشار التعامل مع الناس التغافل. They say in Arabic 9 out of 10 how to win people or to live good with people. 9 out of 10 is about what? Is about let things go. And I tell you, when it comes to in-laws, 10 out of 10 to be successful in the relationship with your in-laws, let things go. Don't pick on every comment. Don't take it personal. What do you mean? Oh, your father said that. Your mom said that. Did you see how she was looking at me? Why did she say this to the kids? Why did she comment on my furniture? Why did she? Just let it go. Don't pick on things, especially small things. That's so helpful. Okay. But
Jazakallah.
as I said that, I'll also say there is things should not be let go.
Such as?
Like for example, if your mom disrespected your wife, or physically or somebody, your dad or your brother or sister. In-laws are not only mom and dad, by the way. Sometimes the problem comes from sisters,
Mm-hmm.
older sister, controlling sisters, brothers, something like aunt, whatever it is. You know what? When you somebody say bad words about her or about her family, or بالله say even physically hurt her or anything like that, or your husband, that's a red line. But what is important here, Hafsa, I'm sick and tired of men who are cowards, and excuse my language, to talk to their parents, so they hide behind their wife. Oh, you tell my mom. No, Habibi, you go tell your mom. Oh, you should tell her. No, she should not. A good wife will not talk to your mom. A good husband will not talk to your mom. But you talk to your own mother because she will take it from you. And even if you come across a little bit, she will deal with it and she will be happy with you next day. But if I come and I talk, she will never forgive me.
Exactly.
It will be, and it's the worst thing ever to put your wife in front of you and you hide behind her
Yeah.
when it comes to your parents. No, you deal with your mom and sister. Take it from me and brother. Don't let your spouse make you deal with his parents. If he never had the personality to talk to his parents, that's not your job to do. That is his job. Don't ever agree to speak on his behalf to his parents. But the problem comes when he does not talk, and the wife need to make a stop. Scenario:
Okay.
my father-in-law smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke in the house. My kids in the house. My in-laws comes and turn on the TV. They don't understand R from M from PG from whatever, rating number. They don't understand that. It's just action, khalas. It's okay. They don't understand that there is things. I don't want my son to hear that, to see that, to watch that. So what they do? Well, I'm not gonna talk to my mom. I'm not gonna talk to my dad. She likes, songs and movies and Hollywood movie or like, action movies, whatever, or sub opera, drama stuff. What can I do? He became problem. If he or she not willing to talk to their parents, I can't tell my father to smoke outside. He'll kill me. Like, what can I do? And that became a real challenge. I think in a case like this, when your husband, there is a dangerous about your son, there is this. I think you have the right to, nicely find the best way to communicate this. Maybe you can tell his wife to tell the father, or the father to tell his wife, or said, hey, guys, just it would be nice if you can tell me about the smoking before so I can take the son, because proven that this can be not safe for children. I'll make sure that my kids outside or the kids outside. By the way, this is use bad language. If you're reasoning with them, but if he's completely not willing, but the rule is your son should talk. The son should talk to the parents. The daughter should talk to her parents. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Oh, subhanAllah, Sheikh, there's so many questions that are coming from this. I can already see some popping up in the chat, but I know that we're limited in time. And I know that as soon as this course starts, even though the course is all about the fiqh of women in every aspect of our lives, this stage of life, marriage, relationship with in-laws, etc., ends up being one of the biggest ones, subhanAllah, that comes up in questions. And obviously this is why we chose to topic in-laws or outlaws, how to create healthy relationships with your...
I have an interesting tip for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I did that. My mom, she's so proud of her rice and how she, rahimahullah, and how she used to cook beautiful potato in the oven, stuff with chicken. Like she has like a special type of meal that she's so proud of herself. She think her this meal is the best meal exists in the world. Okay, so one day, me and my wife, we agree that she cooked something similar to that, and she did a good job. So while I'm eating, we already pre-staged this. It's pre-planned.
Okay. Oh, I think Sheikh has frozen for me. If you guys can confirm as well, if you can still see the Sheikh, just as we were getting good to, please clarify. And otherwise, it might be on my end. Sheikh, okay. You're back. You were at the good part.
Okay. So when she did it in front of my mom, everybody sitting and my father and stuff, and I said, this is good, but it's no way near my mom's food. That really tastes good, but it's no way near my mom's food. And my wife knows what I'm going to say. She said, are you sure? She's absolutely. She said, I'm fine with that. Oh, my mom was in heavens at that time. Khalas, for her, it's so simple because her son, now he doesn't like somebody else's food over her food, and she forgot it. She's so happy. Believe me, simple things like this can win the heart of your parents, your in-laws, and my wife, because she show and demonstrate submission to that. And absolutely you're right. I shouldn't even dare to do that. But you know what? I'm glad that you said that. Or vice versa. I do the same thing with her mom. Yeah. Oh my God, you doing this? You should have your mom taught you how to do it. Your mom has the best macaroni ever. Oh, her mom's so happy, Or like, mashallah, it looks nice. This makeup looks nice to you. You almost look like as good as your mom. Oh, her mom is like, woo, like somewhere between Mars and Pluto. It just, these nice talk can change people, win people. And you want my advice? When you visit, don't visit too long. Don't stay too much. It's been said don't visit too often and too much, because if you don't do that, you will be loved more. If you do too much, even as an in-laws, let her go to her parents, but you come, and the time you come is sweet, joke, love, be nice, happy. Gifts are unbelievable cure for preparing damages. Everybody loves gifts,
Yeah.
small gifts. And sometimes, I will call the aid of arrangement, or I will call flowers, and I will send her for just a random day. She will find flowers coming to her at home. She's not expecting that at all. Okay, wow. You know what? I was traveling, and I thought about you. I know you like octopus. My mother like octopus. So, you know what? I found this very beautiful octopus pins that you can put in your hat or whatever. Oh my God, you thought about me while you're traveling? Yes, and don't tell her. I hope she's not watching. But I just picked it up from Houston Airport. Anyway, so, uh, sometimes just also I thought about it.
Yeah.
The gifts can play, and it doesn't matter I have a problem with her or not. Constantly doing that in Eid, opening gifts together. Just be nice, and don't ever disrespect your spouse in front of their parents. Ever, because that's unforgiven sin to any father or any mother. If I see somebody, I see my son-in-law treating my daughter bad, I don't know what I'm going to do to him. You never, ever, ever be respected again by me. And same thing. So make sure you be very careful. There is so many points I shared. I don't know. I would like to hear anybody. Did you see? I can't see the chat, but do you see any good tips you want to share? Any good questions?
I just see a lot more questions now. And alhamdulillah, the one reassurance that I have is that we have full on videos on every single aspect of these topics in the course. So inshallah, I know it feels like there's too many questions to keep on top of, but there's so much that's going to be covered already with the Sheikh. There are a couple of questions, Sheikh, if you have a few minutes for us to close off into the end of the hour. Okay, awesome sauce. Let me see if I can,
we still have 7 minutes or 8 minutes. So.
So Nemo's asking, what happens if an argument happens? Do you consider spouses going back to the family house to get a break? Do you recommend that being a way to resolve or to give space to each other, is to go back home as a solution?
Okay, that's a good question, but it's not related to in-laws. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to twist it to in-laws first, then I'll answer the question. If that's okay. One of the things that is so important is don't complain to your parents about your spouse, versus consult your parents about your spouse. There's a huge difference between the two. Don't complain to your mom about your spouse, but you can consult her. You can ask for advice. But when you complain, what happened? You go to your mom. Oh, my wife is very, my wife, she is so, I'm tired. My house is dirty, mom. My wife, she doesn't do any job. My stain the dishes stay in the kitchen. I come late. I'm willing to help, but I can't. I do everything. But she's staying home. She doesn't do nothing. She's so lazy. That's complaining. Okay. What happened? Or you know what? My wife, we got fight today, and we get this, and mom, you know what he did? He basically raised his voice, and he told me this, and he's like, oh my God, he tell you that? Did you allow it? I didn't. We did blah blah blah. Okay. Then you guys back home, and she said, oh, Habibi, you know what happened? The dishwasher was not working, and it was today I have a very bad tension headache. It was a bad, terrible week for me. My period was late, and it just everything is messed up in my life, and I'm sorry. Oh, don't worry, sweetheart. You should have told me. I would have helped you. Who cares? We can get like paper replaced. See, I have million solutions came up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry that I was tired. I should have raised my voice. I know you always love me, and you guys come back and I lovey-dovey stuff, and you get so happy. And who is in the pressure cooker? is your mom and your dad home.
Yeah.
They are like cooking from inside. Oh my God, he just. Now everything's solved with you, but they are not. It's escalating with them. Don't complain. Ask for advice. Hey, how can I help my wife when it comes to the issue? How do you guys manage all this work to be done?
Sheikh,
That's a different approach.
an
So
important
that's. Mhm.
sorry, when if you have to tell your parents when your husband is mistreating you and is emotionally abusive, can you do that? Is that permissible to do, to complain to your parents?
Absolutely. I'm very glad somebody told me that. If your husband hits you, if your husband's do haram thing to you, cheat on you, okay, in something that can get trouble, drugs, like can be a criminal nature, absolutely have to tell your parents. Absolutely. This is no. Like, don't, even if it's just a slap. A slap, that's not a small thing. If he puts his hand on you once, he will do it again.
Beautiful. Jazakallah khair.
And don't, you tell your parents, talk to your parents. Like, I'm dealing with some cases.
Yeah.
Like, I said to the sister, why did you wait? You know that he'd be sleeping around with other women. She caught him several times over the years, and she never told her parents. Give him a chance, give him a chance, and now when she wants a divorce, what happens? Okay, I understand if you repent and you cover his sin, but this not repenting guy, okay, is not like he's been doing this, nothing changed in his life. Now when she wants to get divorced, her parents, why do you do this? And she couldn't tell them about all these years. She feel embarrassed. She said, can you tell my parents that there's a good reason for my divorce? Her parents thinking about it's not what's wrong with my daughter, these kind of question mark about her. It's very, very awkward situation. Why? And especially in the physical abuse, more than anything else, because especially if the husband put his hand on his wife, he need to understand that she has a family. They will stand for him. They will not let him abuse her.
Yeah. Otherwise, he'll do it again.
And the same thing. But in 99% of the cases, parents will stand and will have, involvement, and hopefully to be wise involvement. One of the worst things parents can do, anytime your daughter complains to you or your son, divorce her. It's not like that. Sometimes he says this out of anger, or you don't, from outside, you don't know how much there is investment in the relationship.
Exactly.
There is so much love. Divorce her. Like when you divorce your daughter and she comes stay with your home and you at home. I'm not talking about like an abuse situation. No, just the normal things that happen between husband and wife. You just don't rush to that too. You have to be wise in the advice that you give. Consult. Not every parents are wise. By the way, wisdom doesn't necessarily comes with age. This is something to keep in mind. Anyway, going back to the question of the brother who said, is it good to send them off to cool things down? I will advise to send them off after things cools down, not before. Because the cold shoulder, the resistance, the gap can grow bigger if you get separated after a heat debate.
Yeah. Someone is
But cool things down. You don't need to solve the problem, but cool down the things.
Yeah.
And go back to a week or something. Hey, I think maybe, how about we give you a break for a day or two? That would maybe be nice.
Yeah. Sorry, Sheikh, someone's also clarifying, I know we discuss physical abuse in those situations. What if it's verbal abuse? Because, hitting, physical abuse, it's obvious that it's not acceptable. Emotional abuse, sometimes it's hard to decide which approach to take with that. So what do you recommend in the case of emotional abuse?
Emotional and verbal abuse are levels. If it's serious, you consult. You don't need to complain. It just complaining is different attitude. Consult, ask them, let them know, take advice from them.
Absolutely. We discussed a few of these topics again in the course. Like someone said, abuse is abuse, and that's true. But the approaches can be different depending on the type of abuse that it is. And we discussed scenarios, especially when it comes to topics of divorce and what are the justifiable reasons to get divorced. There's a lot of discussion around that, alhamdulillah, as well. Sheikh, unfortunately, we've hit the course of the hour. There's so much that we still want to talk about. But alhamdulillah, we have an opportunity to continue this discussion. Inshallah, we'll have one more live session, same time, same place next Thursday at 3 p.m. EST, inshallah. But the course itself is already open. The full modules are up. Someone was asking, when is it starting? We're going to give you guys a few days just to get a chance to absorb. There's so much content. So just to start absorbing the first couple modules and ease into the course, inshallah. And then we'll have a Q&A with Sheikh in early September, inshallah, for you guys to start asking him.
I want to just end with the word to parents. Okay,
yeah.
There's a lot of tips for people, for brothers and sisters, and then there's so many. I hope in the course you will get a chance to see some of these points. Keep them busy before they keep you busy. Have one of the tools that you can use. But I want to tell to all the parents: make sure that you give your children a chance to succeed. Give your children a chance to have their own experience in life. I know you have a lot to share, but also they want to experience that on their own. Give them that space. Don't threat, don't get angry, but counsel them, advise them, instead of threatening them and dooming them. I want you to always trust the love of your child. You raise them well, they love you, and they care for you. Don't ever forget that. Be the one who will build your son and your daughter's family up, not to tear it apart. My advice to you: don't ever involve yourself in the details. Don't put your nose in every small things happening between them. Only major things, only big things. Don't care to investigate but always be there for her and for him if they need your advice. You're not in competition with your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law to win the heart of your child. No, it's already there. You're a very higher status. And always make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring happiness and success to all to the families and all to those who are young or old, all those who are married. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant those who are not married a very successful, happy married life, inshallah. Allahumma ameen.
Ameen ya Rab. Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. I've mentioned this before, but subhanAllah, the one thing that I really enjoy about this course is that, Sheikh, you're answering everything. You're teaching the fiqh through the eyes of women, through the experiences of what women are actually thinking and feeling and struggling with, and, pulled in 2, 3, 4, 5 different directions from society, from their home society, from their parents, from their in-laws, to their spouses, to their children. And there's so many people who try to define the role of women. But it's important for us to go back to the Quran and the Sunnah and the authentic sources to find out exactly what Allah has honored us with, and what exactly, what's so empowering about the role of women in the deen. And inshallah, get clarity in the common things, the things that you guys are, when it comes to menstruation, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to divorce, and then the very specific, difficult, intricate scenarios that will no doubt come up and have come up over the years that we've been teaching this course, that you've been developing it. So jazakallah khair for making this experience possible and for being with us and for giving us your time this evening. Inshallah, we'll catch you next week, same time, same place, and very soon in the portal where we're going to be bombarded. So get ready.
By the way, today also I will be with the brother Adil Ghadban in TikTok. So we have, I'm not very active in TikTok. So I'm looking forward for that to see how's it going to go. So
it's going to be your first TikTok live, Sheikh. All right, we'll keep you on our da'as, inshallah, and it's going to be on Brother Adil Ghadban's page, correct?
Yeah, maybe you can post it in the chat if you have.
Inshallah, yes, we'll try to post it
on my Facebook too. Assalamu alaikum. Awesome. Hey guys, also check my last story on my Facebook. Yes. My mothers and carrots. It's interesting.
Sounds good, inshallah. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Sheikh. Inshallah, we'll catch you very soon. For everyone else, I know there was a lot of questions that you had throughout the session. So just to give you a little bit of clarity in terms of what the course, Complicated Online. Find it is at almaghrib.online. That's where you can find out more information. There's a lot more to discover and that we're going to be covering, inshallah. For those who have questions about how it's going to go and what's going to happen and what we're talking about, essentially, Sheikh Walid put years and years of work and effort into building an online course that's the A to Z modern fiqh of Muslim women. The fiqh doesn't change, but the modern situations and the struggles and the scenarios that women experience have, mashallah, developed and changed over the years, and we need to make sure that we address them. And alhamdulillah, Sheikh Walid is an authority in the topic, and he has built a whole course on it. So if you go to almaghrib.online and you register, you'll have access to a completely professionally recorded course that's been broken up into modules, going through all the various stages of our lives, all the topics that affect us the most. I wish I could sit here and go through like the 100 videos that we already have up there, but inshallah, when you register, you'll be able to binge to your greatest desires, inshallah. And as you're going through the course experience, you'll have the opportunity to jump on live Zoom sessions with Sheikh Walid and ask him questions, pre-submit them, or to jump on live and to ask him questions that are still bothering you from the course, questions that relate to your personal lives, struggles that you've had in the past, and to inshallah get clarity as well. And then you'll have live Q&A sessions that are recorded. So those sessions you can come back to at any time. The whole course you have lifetime access to. So inshallah you'll be able to refer back to it if you're going through a different period in your life, or you're struggling with something. You can always refer to it through the access. The course is closing in just a few days. I don't know the exact date, but it's not open for much longer. So I do encourage you guys. I think it's less than a week, or exactly a week, that we will have it open, and then it will just be those who are registered who will have access to modules and the content. You can start asking their questions to the Sheikh. We also have some bonus Q&A sessions, bonus sessions. We have Sister Sarah Sultan, who's just confirmed with us to do a session on gender relations between Muslim men and women. So that's going to be really interesting. But there's a lot more in there. There's bonus sessions on topics from the moon to the sky. So we're excited for you guys to be part of the experience. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at Al-Maghrib by hitting up info@almaghrib.org or sending a message to the chat. Jazakallah for joining us for this experience. Forgive us for not being able to answer every questions, but I'm confident you will get them answered through the course. And as someone is asking, where can you get it? You head over to www.almaghrib.online, and that's where you find out all the information. That's where you can register as well, inshallah. See you guys on the other side, and do follow Sheikh Walid on his debut on TikTok on Brother Adil Ghadban's page. Inshallah, we'll try to drop that information in the chat as well for you guys, so you can catch him there in just a few short hours. For now, take care, stay safe, and from us at Al Maghrib Institute, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.